5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Construction sometimes leads to destruction, a paradox that sits at the heart of human progress. The act of building, which is often associated with innovation, development, and civilization, can ironically become a force that dismantles, disrupts, or even eradicates what once existed. Whether it is in the form of infrastructure projects, technological advancements, or urban expansion, construction frequently comes with consequences that are not immediately visible. The very process of creating something new often involves the removal, alteration, or destruction of something old. This contradiction reveals a deeper truth about the nature of change, development, and the human desire for growth. The first layer of this paradox lies in the physical environment. When a new building is erected, land must be cleared. This often means that forests are cut down, wetlands are drained, and natural habitats are destroyed. In the name of progress, construction projects displace wildlife, disrupt ecosystems, and contribute to the degradation of biodiversity. The beauty and function of natural landscapes are replaced with concrete, steel, and glass. The cost of such construction is not always accounted for in economic terms, but its environmental footprint is profound. It is not only the loss of flora and fauna, but also the destabilization of entire ecosystems that once thrived in balance. In urban settings, construction leads to gentrification and social displacement. As old neighborhoods are torn down to make way for high-rise apartments, shopping malls, or office buildings, long-time residents often find themselves priced out of their own communities. Affordable housing disappears, and with it, the social fabric that held neighborhoods together. People who once knew each other, shared cultural ties, and supported one another are scattered. The community is destroyed in the name of improvement. Although the new structures may look attractive and modern, the human cost behind them is often ignored. Cultural heritage also suffers when construction ignores the significance of history. In many parts of the world, ancient monuments, traditional architecture, and historical landmarks are bulldozed to make way for contemporary development. The urgency to modernize frequently comes at the expense of preserving the past. Cultural identity is embedded in architecture, language, and shared public spaces. When these are destroyed, people lose a connection to their roots. This kind of destruction is subtle but profound. It robs future generations of their historical consciousness, leaving them with a sanitized version of progress that has no memory. Construction also leads to environmental degradation in more invisible ways. The production of construction materials such as cement, bricks, and steel requires vast amounts of energy and emits significant levels of carbon dioxide. These emissions contribute to climate change, which in turn leads to rising sea levels, extreme weather, and food insecurity. The pollution generated by construction sites, from dust and debris to noise and chemical runoff, affects both human health and natural systems. Water sources become contaminated, air quality deteriorates, and soil loses its fertility. In this manner, the act of building for human comfort becomes a threat to human survival. Technological construction is another area where destruction is masked by innovation. The building of new technologies, such as computer systems, artificial intelligence, and digital infrastructure, is often celebrated. Yet, it also leads to the destruction of jobs, the erosion of privacy, and the loss of human connections. Factories that once employed hundreds of workers are replaced by automated systems. Skills that were once passed down through generations become obsolete. Moreover, the digital divide grows, leaving behind those who cannot keep up with technological change. The construction of a digital world, while empowering in some respects, also creates new forms of inequality and isolation. In geopolitical contexts, construction often becomes a tool of domination and conflict. The building of walls, dams, or military bases can lead to territorial disputes, displacement of populations, and destruction of local economies. For instance, the construction of large dams frequently requires the flooding of villages, displacing thousands of people and submerging agricultural lands. The promise of electricity and irrigation often overshadows the suffering caused to the communities that are uprooted. Infrastructure becomes a symbol of power, not always of shared progress. Construction projects that ignore the principles of sustainability end up being short-lived. Buildings that are not designed with environmental resilience in mind become vulnerable to natural disasters. In the event of earthquakes, floods, or storms, poorly constructed infrastructure collapses, causing massive loss of life and property. The destruction in such cases is not just a natural occurrence, but a result of human negligence. It reflects a failure to balance ambition with responsibility. Instead of serving humanity, construction becomes a cause of human suffering. Furthermore, the psychological impact of construction-induced destruction should not be underestimated. When individuals lose their homes, communities, or landmarks due to development, it creates a sense of loss and disorientation. Places are not just physical locations, they carry emotional significance. The destruction of a childhood home, a community park, or a place of worship can leave lasting emotional scars. The mental health toll of being forcibly relocated or seeing one's neighborhood transformed beyond recognition is often overlooked in the planning process. Even in art and literature, the theme of construction leading to destruction is a recurring one. It reflects a universal human experience. Artists, poets, and thinkers have long observed that the drive to build something new often carries within it the seeds of loss. Whether it is the tower that collapses under its own ambition or the civilization that crumbles under the weight of its own progress, history offers countless examples where the urge to construct leads to unforeseen consequences. It is important to note that the problem is not construction itself but the way in which it is pursued. When done thoughtfully, with respect for the environment, culture, and human needs, construction can truly elevate the quality of life. However, when it is guided solely by profit, speed, or prestige, it tends to overlook the very real costs involved. A more balanced approach requires long-term thinking, community participation, and ethical responsibility. Stop.